While significant progress has been made in combating hunger and food insecurity in recent decades, certain signs suggest that the world may be heading towards a global famine. The warning signals that indicate the potential for an impending global famine, shedding light on the complex interplay of factors driving food insecurity and hunger worldwide. Climate-related crop failures. Climate change-induced extreme weather events, such as droughts, floods, heat waves, and storms, pose significant risks to agricultural productivity and food production. Rising temperatures, shifting precipitation patterns, and unpredictable weather conditions can lead to crop failures, reduced yields, and loss of arable land. Persistent droughts in key agricultural regions, such as Africa's Sahel region or South Asia's breadbasket, may signal the potential for widespread food shortages and famine. Declining crop resilience and biodiversity loss. Monoculture farming practices, intensive use of agrochemicals, and the loss of agricultural biodiversity have eroded the resilience of global food systems. Dependence on a limited number of crop varieties or genetic strains increases susceptibility to pests, diseases, and environmental stresses. Declines in soil fertility, water availability, and ecosystem health further undermine agricultural productivity and food security, potentially exacerbating the risk of famine in vulnerable regions. Conflict and political instability. Armed conflicts, civil wars, and political instability can disrupt food production, distribution, and access, leading to acute food shortages and famine conditions. Conflict-affected countries such as Yemen, South Sudan, Syria, and Afghanistan often experience severe food insecurity and humanitarian crises. Displacement, population displacement, and destruction of infrastructure exacerbate food insecurity, exacerbating the risk of famine for millions of people trapped in conflict zones. Economic shocks and food price volatility. Economic crises, currency devaluations, trade disruptions, and commodity price fluctuations can increase food prices, reduce purchasing power, and exacerbate food insecurity for vulnerable populations. Rising food prices disproportionately affect low-income households and food-insecure communities, pushing millions of people into hunger and malnutrition. Economic shocks, such as the pandemic, can further strain food systems and exacerbate the risk of famine in already vulnerable regions. Disruption of food supply chains. Globalization and interconnected supply chains have transformed the way food is produced, distributed, and consumed worldwide. However, disruptions to food supply chains, such as transportation bottlenecks, trade restrictions, and logistical challenges, can impede the flow of food from producers to consumers. Border closures, export bans, and trade disputes exacerbate food shortages and hinder humanitarian aid delivery, increasing the risk of famine in crisis-affected regions. Population growth and food demand. Rapid population growth, urbanization, and changing dietary preferences are placing increasing pressure on global food systems. The world's population is projected to reach nearly 10 billion by 2050, raising concerns about the ability of food production systems to meet growing demand sustainably. Feeding a growing population amidst finite natural resources, land degradation, and climate change poses significant challenges, heightening the risk of food shortages and famine in the future. There are the signs we are headed to a famine. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.